Hi, I'm.
Do you want to know what I really think?
Please.
It's bullshit. How dare they take an elected official who's been going down there for weeks to escort people who are afraid to walk into a courthouse in the United States of America, because despite them having legal status and following the rules and making their appointments, that they don't know what's going to happen to them. So Brad Lander has stepped up to be a guiding help for them. And this is what happens to him. What the hell is happening to this country? I just left Little Haiti. People are being traumatized. Small businesses, people walking down the street. When I was there in August, the streets were mobbed. People were walking down the sidewalks. There were vendors everywhere. The traffic was crowded. Today, there was silence. In a very high-profile case, we're also concerned about those that are walking out of this courthouse, taken away from their families. They don't have the attention. They don't have the lawyers. And that's why the state of New York is providing $50 million to cover legal services for people who are finding themselves in this situation.
Illuminati is a thing you need to watch out for. They want to depopulate and slave us so much more. World domination, I'll get into that later. I'm hardcore, fierce and sexy. You're just a hater. You deserve the ridicule because you're an absolute zero. I'm the keeper of the chalice, a rock and roll hero. I'm not an idiot nobody listens to, because I'm not a failure in life like you. Let's talk about Bill Gates and the mark of the beast and the orgies in the streets at the Catholic feasts and Bill and Hillary's human trafficking ring. And George Soros got the money to pay for everything. Socialism is for losers, working for the devil. Chumps that can't fight, they ain't on my level. It takes an evil one to try to debunk and doubt it, so I'd rather die than stop talking about it. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out. Watch out for the Illuminati. Watch out for the Illuminati.
Welcome to the MC Too Tall Show. I, of course, am your hardcore, fierce, and sexy host, pilot of the truck that makes Diddy jealous, MC Too Tall. And what do we got going on right here? We got Huckster Hochul, being the huckster she was born to be. She strives to be a huckster, and so a huckster she is. That's why we call her Huckster Hochul. Huckster Hochul. You have this clown, this utter clown, Brad Landers. And he's interfering with ICE arrests and then getting himself arrested. And then the huckster goes in and releases him. Brad Landers is a city controller, and he is a mayoral candidate for the city of New York. And he pulls this stunt. He pulls this stunt in order to gain popularity of the people. Let me tell you something, buddy boy. These ICE agents are doing the will of the people. The people voted for Donald Trump. Donald Trump appoints Tom Homan as border czar. He appoints Kristi Noem as Secretary of Homeland Security. He appoints Pete Hegseth as Defense Secretary. Pam Bondi as Attorney General. He appoints the people in charge of these agents under their respective departments to do the will of the people who voted for Donald Trump on the promise that he would do exactly what's happening right here. And people like Brad Landers want to step in the way. They want to step in the way and interfere with things that we voted for. And I said it in a previous broadcast. Those aren't just Trump's orders. Because of the fact that I voted for Donald Trump, those are my orders. This is what I voted on. This is what I demand. And people don't want to believe this. People don't want to believe that this is what the majority of these here United States of this America want. And it's a horrible situation because these people either don't have a grasp on reality or they're just grasping at straws because they're losing their grasp on totalitarian control over the people. This is all about totalitarian control over the people. And Huckster Hochul wants to free up millions and millions of hardworking taxpayers' dollars to fund the legitimacy of illegitimate residents. And we're talking about people that steal jobs, people that kick in windows of CVS or Rite Aid, steal their merchandise, sell it as unlicensed sidewalk vendors. They lay out the blankets. They have all the stuff they've stolen from Lowe's, Home Depot, Rite Aid, CVS, Dwayne Reed. And we're supposed to foot the bill for this to continue because Huckster Hochul said so. And she gives this teary-eyed speech of how wrong it is to arrest somebody for interfering with an arrest. Let me tell you something. No matter what kind of suit and tie you're wearing, no matter what your title is, no one is above the law. Doesn't Letitia James say that? Doesn't Fonnie Williams say that? Didn't Adam Shifty Schiff say that? Nancy Pelosi? Don't all these people say these things? No one is above the law. No one is above the law. You're talking heads like Don Lemon. No one is above the law. Freaking Joe Bodies in the basement, Scarborough. No one is above the law, right? This is the person that lied to his own viewers, saying "F you if you can't handle the truth," and then blatantly lied, saying this is the best version of Joe Biden ever. This is the best Biden ever. Miss me with that bullshit. Kathy Hochul, you want to talk bullshit? Bullshit has been your entire career. Your entire career as governor of New York is bullshit. Don't call the arrest of someone breaking the law for interfering with someone being arrested for breaking the law bullshit. When it is you who always hands your constituents bullshit. You have a bullshit excuse for congestion pricing. You have a bullshit excuse for taking millions and millions of taxpayer dollars to fund it toward the residency of people in the country illegally who will ultimately replace those hardworking taxpayers. And let's talk about you further pushing the death agenda of New York State. You are the governor that filled the shoes of Andrew Cuomo, who gleefully rang the bell celebrating the legality of butchering fetuses up to 8 months and 3 weeks. Within 1 week of birth, doctors in New York State can rip this fetus, which essentially has the full form of a newborn baby, out of the womb, piece by piece, crushing the skull of this offspring with these special tools, ripping the limbs off while it's still alive, silently crying, until finally all the broken, severed pieces of what could have been a human being lie in a wastebasket, or shipped off to be granulated and injected into grandpa so grandpa doesn't catch Alzheimer's. I'm against all granulated babies being injected into adults. There's something wrong with that. But this is the state you, Huckster Hochul, have inherited. Let's not forget why New York has become this death state. Let's see. Andrew Cuomo, who's now running for mayor as well, while governor, crammed COVID patients into nursing homes, killing off thousands of senior citizens. There was a medical boat. There was a boat right off the shores of New York where COVID patients could have gone. This was set up just for COVID patients. It was set up to be a COVID hospital. There was no need to cram them in the nursing homes and kill off senior citizens. And Andrew Cuomo still did that anyway and blamed God for his evils. And this is the mayoral candidate you, Huckster Hochul, have endorsed, as well as former Governor Patterson, as well as former Mayor Bloomberg. This death cult leader of a governor, this failed governor, is expecting to become mayor of one of America's biggest cities, one of the world's biggest cities. He's got the gall so he could bring his death and destruction back into New York, concentrated within New York City. And Huckster Hochul supports this. Now let's talk about what Huckster Hochul herself is about to do. On her desk sits a bill awaiting nothing further than her signature that pretty much suggests that if a person wants to be medically taken out, so to speak, with the assistance of trained medical professionals that they can. If somebody is told that they're terminally ill, that triggers off depression, they decide they don't want to live anymore. The doctor then will call in a nurse with a lethal injection. They lethally inject the poor bastard. He croaks right there in the doctor's office. And whatever that underlying condition will be written down as the cause of death. Kind of like in the COVID days where people would die from motorcycle accidents, and because they had the sniffles or because some COVID sample showed up on the swab up their nose, they listed their death as a COVID death, even though the guy might have been missing a fucking brain in the autopsy. If I could tell you this, and not to sound morbid or gory, if John F. Kennedy had COVID on that fateful afternoon of November 22nd, 1963, I guarantee you his death would have been listed as a COVID death. Thanks to politicians like Andrew Cuomo and Huckster Hochul. And now this Huckster Hochul wants to sign off on what is essentially assisted suicide, but cannot be called that. They can't be called that. In other words, it is yet another death jab that they won't even acknowledge as a death jab. They won't even acknowledge it as even coming to be. Doctor tells you you have cancer. You get into a panic. You don't want to live through the cancer. You tell the doctor you want to die. He gives you the shot. And on record, that shot doesn't even exist. You died of cancer. This is literally what sits on the desk of Huckster Hochul, awaiting a signature. And since she's a Democrat, and along with crime and businesses shutting down, death and destruction also runs rampant because of the Democrats. And thus, since she's a Democrat, I'm pretty sure this bill will be signed. Signed, sealed, delivered, thousands upon thousands of death warrants in the year that will follow, the single 1 year that will follow the signing of this bill. So she's going to sign off people's lives while bailing out a person who sticks up for illegal trespassers who are of this very same ilk as that son of a bitch bastard that burned that sleeping woman alive in the New York City subway system. Huckster Hochul, shame on you. Brad Lander, shame on you. Andrew Cuomo, shame on you. And Huckster Hochul, I hope Elise Stefanik whoops your monkey ass and wipes the floor with you in the elections for governor next year. And I don't care who they put up against Curtis Lewa for mayor this year. I can't say it enough times. Curtis Lewa has my support. He has my endorsement. That was he is a man who to this very day remains as still, boots on the ground. He's out there going from borough to borough, on the subways, as he has done since God knows how long, for 4 decades, with the guardian angels. At every bus, at every train stop, train doors open. The guardian angels poke their heads out, look back and forth, see each other's heads, go back in. So many people who are hardened criminals and repeat offenders went to jail and had to serve their full sentences, making our streets safe in the process, not because of the Democratic mayors of the time, but because of Curtis Sliwa, a private citizen who had enough of the crime of our streets, formed one of the greatest, most worldly recommended, most worldly recognized task forces, the Guardian Angels. So you can't tell me he doesn't know this city. He knows every crack and crevice of this city. And I can't say it enough times, as I said before, this man has my endorsement. And may God be with Curtis Sliwa as he wallops whoever they pit against him. Bring it on. Bring it on. Brad Lander, Andrew Cuomo, the Zoltar guy, whatever the hell his name is, terrorist guy, the woke guy posing as a moderate, the failed current mayor, Eric Adams. Bring it on. God will be on Curtis Sliwa's side this time around, and he likes cats. So on that note, if you're in New York, you're stupid if you vote Democrat. Respect God. Watch out for the Illuminati. Follow and share my content. Listen to my music. Follow my ways. Stay strong. Keep kicking that slang. It's your boy in the building. Hip-hop legend, recording engineer, and underground rock and roll hero, MC Too Tall. Be good.